Skepticism and mistrust surrounding the COVID-19 vaccine continues to plague Black and brown communities. Health officials, like our next guest, are hoping to change that by documenting their vaccine journey on social media. Joining us is Dr. Jen Caudle. Thank you for joining us this morning, Doctor.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you're part of a growing list of physicians, especially Black ones, sharing their vaccine experience with the world. Can you tell us why?
Absolutely. Well, we know that, getting vaccinated against COVID is literally one of our best bets for overcoming and fighting this pandemic. Of course, along with mask wearing, social distancing, et cetera, and things like that. But we also know that many people are concerned about the vaccine, have questions about it, want to understand how it works, what are myths, what are truths. In addition to my work as a family physician, going on television, talking about the vaccine, doing my own videos, I figured one of the best ways to really show people is to document my own self getting the vaccine, which is what I've done. So it's really to reach out to people and to show people and be transparent about the process to instill trust.
Well, I must say, I don't think I've seen someone so eloquently provide a step-by-step guide, not to mention your lighting was on point.
Thank
Now,
you.
I know that you just received your second shot on the 21st. How are you
I
feeling?
did. So right now I'm feeling great. But as you might have seen, and thank you so much for watching the videos, you might have seen in the very first video within 24 hours. By the way, I got the Moderna vaccine. I got my first dose around December 24th, second dose January 21st. Within 24 hours or so, I was feeling muscle aches, fatigue. I had a low grade temperature. I had some chills, and that's what I talked about in that video. I know some people may be reluctant to talk about some of the symptoms they may have about vaccination, but I don't want to be I don't want to hide what we know can happen. It's really important for people to know that mild to moderate side effects or symptoms are very likely after vaccination. And if we're prepared for them, if we know they can happen, then when they happen, it won't be so startling. Or we won't be reluctant to get our second dose or to tell someone else to be vaccinated. So while in the beginning I had some of the symptoms that we know can happen, it's been, I don't know, what, 4 or 5 days or 6 days. I'm just as good as new. And I was actually within, I don't know, 48 hours, 60 hours, I was back to my old self anyway. So it's good news.
And thank you for sharing that you did actually have some of those adverse effects. Did you experience any of that during the second shot or around the second shot?
So that was the second shot. I should have been clear, and I'm sorry if I
Okay.
wasn't. So those were the symptoms I had with the second shot. The first shot that I got really just had some arm soreness where I got the vaccine, which by the way I get with any vaccine I ever get. I get that with the flu shot and every other vaccine I've gotten. So that was not unusual for me. It's very common for a lot of people. It's the second vaccine that I got more of the symptoms. But once again, I'm here to tell people these should not be reasons why you are reluctant or afraid to get the vaccine. By the way, when we get symptoms like this, and first of all, not everyone will understand that getting the vaccine is not necessarily signing up for the symptoms that I mentioned. Some people will, some people will not. But if you get the symptoms, it's a sign that your immune system is working, that the shot's actually working in your body. And by the way, if you don't get the symptoms, it doesn't mean the shot's not working. But with some over-the-counter medications, most people, including myself, are just as good as new. What's really important, if I can mention very quickly, and I'm so glad in your opening you talked about how COVID-19 cases are really on the rise. We know that African Americans and Latinos, we are disproportionately affected by COVID-19. Blacks die 3 times more than whites when it comes to COVID-19. We are 4 times more likely to be hospitalized. But we also know new statistics are out that Black people now are not getting vaccinated at the rate that white Americans are. This is a problem. We need to get vaccinated. We need to be protected.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, doctor. So what do you say to people who look like you and I
Yeah.
who want to get vaccinated but don't know how or where to go?
Well, so let's talk about this elephant in the room, right? Because this is a very real thing. My parents are in their early 70s. They were in Nashville. They live in Nashville, Tennessee. They called around for a few weeks trying to find out where they can get a vaccine. They only found out from, a neighbor where the neighbor got the vaccine and passed it on, thankfully, to my parents. Let's be very clear that there is a problem with vaccine distribution in this country. Not only distribution, but availability. Not only do we not have enough vaccines right now, but they're not being distributed either equitably or fairly or easily. So this is a challenge. There are a number of resources obviously going online. I know sometimes that's a challenge for folks. If you have a family member or a friend that can help you, please enlist them. Call your doctor to see what your doctor can do. I've had patients call me saying, hey, where can I go? And I'm trying to steer them towards resources. Call your local governments. Go onto your local state government websites. Again, it's not perfect. We have a long ways to go. But guys, we've got to get this vaccine.
All right, my last question for you is, you mentioned that you would recommend the vaccine with rare exception. What are those rare exceptions?
Yes. Oh, great question. So, to be honest with you, I would say most people would be able to get the vaccine. Right now, as you know, we have the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. The major contraindications or the major reasons why people would not be able to get the vaccine are if you have an allergy to any of the components of the vaccine. Your doctor can certainly go through that with you. If you've had an allergy or an allergic reaction to a COVID vaccine before, so if you've gotten the first dose and had an allergic reaction to that, and if you've had allergies to some related products to those that are in the vaccine. I know I'm sounding a little vague, but really it's those who have allergic reactions to products, components of the vaccine or to the vaccine. If you have a history of major allergic reactions to vaccines, other vaccines in the past, it doesn't necessarily mean you cannot get the COVID vaccine, but you got to talk to your doctor and what we call be risk stratified. Your doctor has to go through and say, okay, is this right for you? Is this not, et cetera. But autoimmune diseases are okay for most people to get the vaccine. If you have a weakened immune system, these vaccines don't contain preservatives, eggs, or latex. So people with egg allergies that are worried about it. So interestingly enough, there are a lot of people. I would say probably most people would be eligible for the vaccine.
All right,
Talk to your
Doctor.
doctor, of course.
Most definitely. Dr. Jen Caudle,
Yes,
thank you so much for joining us this morning on BNC. Have a wonderful day.
you as well.